Hey everyone, it's Chris. Welcome back to the Little Shop of Hoarders and the PDX Picker channel. I'm going to follow up with one of my regularly scheduled videos where I go over what sold for me over the weekend and talk about some of the latest issues going on in my reseller business and in the reseller community in general. I'm going to talk about my last video where I was venting, complaining about a bunch of things that were going on. Forgot that I had even one more thing to come on and vent about, but it's kind of a funny story, and it's going to be a good way to test one of eBay's new supposedly seller-friendly policies that they're implementing. So right after the intro song, we'll get into that story and also the sales that happened for me over the weekend. It was another really, really good weekend.
Wanna buy that Farrah Fawcett poster? There's dispensers and a toaster. Don't know why. That kind of stuff you throw away. I'll sell on eBay.
All right, we'll get into a couple sales here. I sold 2 outdoor research items, and I have 2 more to list. These are like vintage, I don't know, backpacking related things. They are both padded outdoor research. I think we established that. Cooler type things. This is called a padded cell. I look at that as like a soft-sided cooler, but maybe it has some other use for it. And then this is like an Algene water bottle holder cooler. $3.99 I spent on this. $4.99 I spent on this. This sold for $29.99 plus shipping, and this one sold for $30 plus shipping. So $60 total on those. I have 2 more still to list. Outdoor Research, really good brand when it comes to resale. And that stuff sold in like a day. It sold super fast and really good money. And there was like a bunch of it there. It had been there for a while, so don't sleep on those. When I say there, I mean at Goodwill. There was 4 total items. This sold as well. Gilligan's Island on DVD, new, sealed. Picked this up for $5. And that sold for $27.95 free shipping. So my last video, I was talking about just kind of like all this crazy junk that had been going on and happening to me. I felt like it was building up, just one thing after another, the snowball effect. Posted a video. There were a lot of you that I think were commiserating with me. Maybe you recognize some of those things happening in your reselling business. So that was good. There were a few, troll people that came on and into the comments and were talking about how basically that I should be quiet and not complain, or I shouldn't even be in the reselling business. Whatever. They're going to do that. That's fine. But it was a good video. It made me feel better. I had another really good sales weekend, and thankfully some of the bad things are going away for the most part. But I did want to bring up another bad thing. Actually, I think that might have been, this story might have been the first of the ultimately 6 bad things that happened to me. They say bad things come in threes. Well, apparently I got double the bad because I had 6 things go bad for me last week. I'm going to pull another order here, but I had sold a Bible to somebody out in, I think, South Carolina. And I ship, most every book that I can via media mail, because that's the cheapest way to sell it or to ship it, and that is what I put in my listings, shipping at media mail. This sold for me. It's some sort of milk hydro refresh spray. I think it's like a setting spray for makeup or something. $16 free shipping. Picked that up and a bunch of other things for, that was basically, I think, $2 probably I paid for that. So I shipped this Bible media mail. It went out October 27th. And I got a message on November 11th, I think. So, yeah, Veterans Day. And the buyer wanted to know, they were kind of snarky. They said, I ordered this item, 2 weeks ago and it still hasn't showed up. You picked a terrible method for shipping this. That's what they said to me. You picked a terrible method to ship this. And, I just replied and said, I put in the listing that I was shipping a media mail. I'm sorry that it's taking longer than expected. And kind of left it at that, but I did think to look at the tracking just to get an idea of where it was in the process, because that was, 2 weeks is a little bit long. even media mail. It was going across the country, but it doesn't usually take that long. So I tracked it, and it said it was in between locations, which is code, USPS code, in my opinion, for they've lost it. When it's kind of in transit for a long period of time in between locations, they usually don't know where it is. So that was I was a little nerve-wracking, and I was about ready to. This was just off of the eBay tracking. You know, eBay will have like a summary of the tracking, not exactly what. It's not always exactly what the carrier's tracking will say. Like if you go directly to the website. So I just thought, you know what, I'm going to go directly to the post office's tracking website to see a little bit more information on there. So I clicked on it, I went to it, and I noticed that it said last location of the package was Carolina, PR. And at first I was like, well, that's a weird way to reference, South Carolina or one of the Carolinas. And then I realized, no, they're actually talking about Carolina, Puerto Rico. Somehow this package was shipped, instead of South Carolina, it went to Carolina, Puerto Rico. Gotta love when the post office makes a mistake like that. And I'm actually a huge fan of the post office. I very rarely have issues with it. When things do happen, of course, it's extremely frustrating. But 99+% of the time, packages get there on time, not damaged, quickly. I really have wonderful things to say about the post office. But this, of course, was a mistake on their part. So I messaged the buyer and said, after doing a little bit more research, well, the item is in Puerto Rico. Speaking of items, this sold. This is one of the weird things that Amazon does sometimes. My wife bought this for her car. It's a CarPlay adapter to put CarPlay in her car, except we have Androids. She thought this was a CarPlay and Android Auto adapter. It's just CarPlay. So she returned it, but Amazon said, oh, you don't need to return it. Just keep it. So they gave us our money back, and we get to keep the item. So since it wasn't used, I put it up on eBay for $20 plus shipping, and it sold after a couple of days. So basically got a free $20 out of that one. Thanks, Amazon. So I messaged the buyer, like I said the item was in Carolina, Puerto Rico, and I said, hey, that's not your fault. It's already been a long time. Let's just give you a refund. So I refunded his money. It's like $35 plus shipping, so, I don't know, $43 or something like that. But here's the thing. Recently, eBay put in a new seller policy that's going to hopefully protect me in this case, should the item eventually get delivered. This sold. It's a vintage Atlanta Olympics 1996 Olympics crew neck sweatshirt. Double XL, paid $12.99 for that, which I thought was going to be just too expensive when I was checking the price at the thrift store, but that sold in just about 2 weeks for $45 plus shipping. So definitely would have loved to have paid less than that, but that's not too bad. $13 into $45 in very quick amount of time. For whatever reason, this particular, this is selling like hotcakes. There's probably 30 or 40 of those that have sold in the last 90 days. And the sell-through rate on them is really, really high. Like 75, 80%. So, I don't know. Weird the things that will sell. But, so yeah, like I mentioned, I gave him the refund, and eBay has implemented this new policy that if, well, first of all, I messaged the buyer and said, this is important, very, very important, open up an item not received case. So they opened up the case, and then I refunded the buyer. Okay, now, when that situation happens, if the item subsequently gets delivered, in this case by the post office, what will happen is then eBay will refund me the money as the seller. That is their new seller policy. So I'm going to test that out, see if that is actually the case. We'll follow through, and I'll let you know, in the future what actually happens. I'll be honest, I'm a little bit nervous. I don't think that I don't know if eBay is really set up to actually properly track this. They should be. Should be all automatic, but we'll see. Like I said, I'll get a chance to test it. So that was nice, but that was, I mean, it was nice that they have that policy. It'll be really nice if it actually works. But that was the small little snowball that started the giant snowball of bad things last week. This finally sold. I used to be pretty high on these old Betty Crocker picture cookbooks. I got this at an estate sale for $5. It's not in the best of condition, like the binding's taped on it, but those used to sell for like 25 bucks relatively quickly. This one did not. Might be the condition. I don't know. Anyway, did sell eventually for $12 plus shipping. Fourth time is the charm. I actually showed this item selling in my last video, but then I edited it out because by the time I pulled the item and then got ready to ship, the buyer canceled it. So this would be that was the third time it was bought. This is bought for the fourth time. Well, somehow this is probably not going to work again. This is a Sony camera lens, new. Originally bought by mistake. Second person bought it, said they didn't like it. Third person bought it, canceled the order before I shipped it. This time it sold for $125 plus shipping. We'll see if they like it. This is like a cursed item. I think if the person wants to return it, if I ship this to them and the person wants to return it for whatever reason, I'm just going to give them their money back and they can keep it. It's cursed. I sold another iron-on, folks. That's 2 iron-ons. Maybe the iron-on season is in the winter for some reason. It's this vintage Scooby-Doo right here. Don't know if you'll be able to see that at all. But it's a little Scooby-Doo iron-on to your shirt iron-on vintage from the 70s. $12.99. No, $13.99 free shipping on that one. And that one, they're not exactly super easy to ship, but that one being a little bit smaller will make it a little easier. So, woohoo! Sold 2 of those! Look out, world! Okay, sold 3 more packages of card sleeves. And, a little bit better lighting here. 3 more packages of 100 sleeves each. $14.99 per. 3 to the same person, so $44.97 free shipping on this. These are card sleeves specifically for. They're designed for the Nemesis board game, but basically this is like just a standard card size. I have a small card size. It's like our sleeve that's like that size. I haven't sold any of those. But I had 8 of those standard packages to begin with, and I've sold 6 of them at $15 each. So that is not, and now I've made my money back on all of the Nemesis items. I made my $500 purchase back, and everything else is pure profit. So we'll have, hopefully you can see this here, but all this stuff here, we got a game here, these boxes here, and then a few more things over there. I think I tallied everything up. It should be about $1,200 to $1,300 total off of my $500 investment, which is okay, not too bad. I'm just hoping that it all sells before Christmas. That's my goal. This was a total bust sale, but whatever. I bought it because it was cool. I contemplated keeping it for myself, and I realized I just don't care that much. This is a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles folder, like a school folder, from 1989. It says down there at the bottom. Pretty good condition. Really cool graphic on there. Picked that up for $8 at an estate sale, and I barely will get my money back. I sold it for $10.49 plus shipping. So, whoop-de-doo, right? But, I mean, like I said, I thought I was going to buy it or keep it for myself, but decided against it. Okay, shelf 7. We're looking for a set of Star Wars comics right here. This is Thrawn Alliance. Bought a huge lot of comics and made my definitely in a profit 100% on these now. So this is complete set of Thrawn Alliance 1 through 4, and that sold for $24.99, free shipping on those. They're slow sellers, but I have a ton that I have yet to list, so not a huge comic seller. It's not something that I overly enjoy. I'm listing all of these as reader copies because they were read by the person I bought them from, so they're not pristine. Reader copies just means you shouldn't be buying these to grade. They're almost all modern too. So anyway, I don't want to bore you all too much with that, but at least it's all profit at this point. This was not a good buy. But it's getting out the door. This is a Baby, is it Baby Bliss or Baby Bliss? I can't remember. Pro hair straightener. I like to like this. Can you tell? Bought that for $5. Sold for $15. Free shipping. Took forever though. Took forever. So this was the big ticket item of the day. The second one was a distant second, but I love selling basketballs. If you are on the hunt sourcing basketballs, I would recommend looking for the ones that are marked indoor use only for a couple of reasons. The main being they're almost always, if they were in fact used indoors only, they're going to be in the best condition. So I picked this up for $6.99. It's a Wilson Evo NXT. It's a women's size ball, $6.99. That sold in just a couple of days for $49.99 plus shipping. $49.99 plus shipping. It is basketball season, just about ready to start up, but that doesn't really matter. Basketball, like mini sports, is year-round when it comes to club sports and AAU and things like that. So never a bad time to source basketballs. But like I said, I do love the indoor-only ones because they are usually in better condition. This is puzzling to me, super puzzling. This is a really nice, lightweight, no condition issues Peter Millar jacket. Nice color, size medium, so maybe not the perfect size. Large or extra large would have been better. Picked this up for $7.99 at the thrift store quite some time ago. Long time ago. Probably 9 months or more. Had it listed relatively high at like $45. Nothing. Didn't ever get an offer or anything. Finally, I ended the listing, relisted or sold similar at $20 or best offer. Somebody sent me an offer for $15, and I took it because it just wasn't selling. So took forever, but man, I thought that was going to be a much better find. Peter Millar is usually a very good brand, just not in this case. Last item of the day, another good one. Picked this up for $7.99 at my favorite thrift store. This is a sling bag, and I just like the design of it. The coloring of it looked cool, and then it had this interesting logo down there. This is actually something from My Hero Academia, which I believe is a manga. But anyway, this sold for $32 plus shipping. It's tied to a specific character, Bakugo. I don't know if that character wears clothing that looks like that, has that kind of design on it or what. But anyway, took about 2-ish, maybe 3 months. Sold for $32 plus shipping on that one. Did have, I forgot I had one item sell on Poshmark, and geez. This one, I still don't fully understand. I bought these shoes 2+ years ago. And I've heard a lot of resellers, I've owned pairs of these shoes, but I've heard a lot of resellers talk about how great NOBULL is as a brand. And I picked these up, I don't know what I paid for them, but probably $10. Just a nice pair of NOBULL, good condition, lots of tread. Well, when I say good condition, the only thing that maybe isn't good is there's a little bit of, just a couple marks on here, on the top. But in general, you know, no holes, no rips. The soles, the insoles are like pristine. You know, I think that's a good indicator of the condition of a shoe is the insole. Like the writing on here is bright, vibrant. It's not worn away. Anyway, where I'm going with this is a lot of good things going for this. It took 2+ years to sell, and I had these listed for $15 on eBay for a long time. Didn't sell on there, but they did finally sell on Poshmark for $19. So I'll barely make a profit on there, but at least they are going out. I don't know. I look at these more, and I think it is just the condition. Just a few too many scrapey things on there. But usually, I mean, those are gym shoes usually, so it's not like they're going to be fashion show wearers, but whatever. Condition, obviously, always going to be the number one when you're buying shoes. That's going to do it for today's video. Thanks so much for any of you new viewers, new subscribers. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel. If you haven't already, if you want to get more content like this in the future, I usually upload about 1 video a week, maybe 2, depending on how things are going. Good luck with all of your ventures out there, reselling or otherwise. If you are interested in supporting my channel, you can join by clicking on my username and becoming a member of the PDX Posse, $2.99 a month. Thank you to PDX Posse member Harley Gal for your continued support. We'll catch you on the next video. Take care.